The thing I wanted to talk to you about today was the social equity in the marijuana industry that affects Chicago. This is kind of crazy because I got the company CBD Film Festival where I talk about marijuana related stories, but this particular story is deep because I don't know if you know they legalized marijuana in the beginning of the pandemic before the pandemic hit. So they legalized marijuana in January. The pandemic hit in March. So then the pandemic lasted 2 years, which is 2021, the second year. They said the second year of the pandemic hit, they went up 600% in sales because most people was locked in the house and all that shit. So their sales went out the roof, and it was all recreational sales too. So what happened is the government, which is white America in Illinois, they said we're going to give out licenses to people. So they hired a black lady, and that's so dope that I'm telling you about this. How they hired a black lady. A black lady was in charge. She's like some kind of Washington D.C. type motherfucker who was up there doing things, and she's in charge here in Illinois. She's like they call her a marijuana czar. She fucks around and is in charge of making sure marijuana and these licenses go out. So she got to write the rules. So since she a law bitch, they telling her, "Bet you write the rules." She a black people. This is why I tell you how they always hire black people in movies. This is a perfect example. This is not a movie. This is real life. So they hire her, and she does the law. So they go into the committee meetings and they say, "Yo, okay, we read your law, but we want you to put this there and that and that." And her job as a black person is to make sure that the black things happen inside this law, that they're going to make it equitable for black people because a lot of black folks went to jail wrong, white people being racist, and they put niggas in jail and all that shit over the years. Her job is to make sure that this paperwork that she writing, these laws she's making, is going to make sure that it goes into effect for blacks. So that we can, if you went to jail, you can get a license. She's going to make sure the paperwork and all that stuff make it. But they came to her and said, yo, since this is a law, you have to make the wording in there race neutral. So you can't say blacks and Latinos will be able to open up a dispensary. So she's like, what? What the fuck y'all mean? She said, well, this the way you got to do the law. You can't say black and white in there. It got to be generalized. So she said, okay, fuck it. Right. I bet. She a law-making bitch. This is what she do. So she hook it up. She come back to them like, yo, okay, this the law. This going to be the law. We need to lay this law down. They say, yo, hold on. It don't say veterans in here. She said, what the fuck are you talking about? This is about black people and Mexicans who've been locked up disproportionately on the south and west side of Chicago. What the fuck do veterans got to do with this? This is America. This is a law. It's coming from American government. If they're going to have a fucking law, it has to have veterans on there. She like, this some bullshit. But you know what? This y'all shit. I'm from Washington, D.C. I got this job. I'm going to put this shit into effect. So she do it. She set this shit up. The licenses drop. They dropped 47 licenses in Illinois. Every single one of them go to motherfucking veterans. She said, what the fuck just happened? So what they did is they made a point system. And you had to fucking accumulate to these points. So say you was a black person on South Chicago, you might have knew about marijuana, you might have been locked up for marijuana, you might know how to run a business, all these points that they're going to ask you about. You from Illinois, and all this shit happened. But then being a veteran was only like 5%. You need 250 points. What they did is whenever and no matter who applied, which was majority black people applied, for these licenses, they was only going to give out 47, but thousands and thousands of people applied, and you had to have damn near $10,000 just to apply. She said it was damn near $50,000 just to apply for this shit. And so all these people stacked their money up, get their connections, they had their little meetings and said, look, nigga, we're going to put this money in this ring, we're going to try to get this license. And all these black people applied. They gave I tell you they gave all the licenses to white people with a veteran fucking 5%. That's it. So no licenses went to no blacks. And now it's 2022. And so no licenses went to no black people. So now all that, we're going to hook y'all up because y'all went to jail. We're going to hook y'all up because y'all live in fucked up communities. Y'all had to deal with this shit disproportionately for black people. And fuck all y'all. All this shit going to white people. White people got all this. And so now all them dispensaries you see pop up is all white. So they got one dispensary that I just went to a few days ago. That's this weed I got right here. I went to the dispensary on the south side of Chicago. It's called what? Mission Dispensary. So 86 and Commercial. So I went there and I got some sour diesel, which is a New York known marijuana taste. It's pretty good. And I got this Durban Skittles. And this is some shit I picked up from that dispensary. And I actually, how long y'all been around? She was like about 5 years. And the other guy said, no, a little longer than that. We opened up around about. Yeah, I heard about it, but I had never went over there. And so I what? Right, well, I just watched a documentary on it, and they said that's the only dispensary on the south side. And here's the other part, and this is the reason why it was intriguing to me. They said it initially was owned by a black person. It was owned by a black person. The black people built that motherfucker. If you go inside that bitch, the whole culture is black. But everybody behind the registers is white. No bullshit. The whole culture playing music in that bitch. You feel like you're inside a nightclub. I ain't bullshitting. Huh? No. They bought that motherfucker before he opened the door. Before the first day of him opening, they bought that bitch. They came and bought him that money. They came and bought him that paper. Yeah. He sold that bitch today because they came to him and said, well, you know what it is. The game is this. Well, before I get to that part, they bought it from him. It's owned by whites. It's no dispensary in Chicago that's owned by a black person. That's just not going to happen. I mean, none of them. Because number one, you can't operate the licenses. Now I'm going to get into that part. So they had this one black girl who lived up north. She's a black chick. She got a license. She got the license that they give out. She don't have a license. She got the paperwork to get the license. She's basically, she didn't get the license. Her consulting firm that her father owned, he's a lawyer, and they've been already doing all this legislation shit way back in the day. So he was a black person, but it didn't go to him. It went to their consulting firm. So they let her manage it. She's just like some black lady on the west side of Chicago, but her father is the reason why that they own it, because it was $50,000 just to apply for this. But a father's a black person, but he's not the owner of the dispensary license. Another people own it. He just was a part of the people who went to go after getting it. So the girl is the manager of it, but she can't open no dispensary or nothing like that because she don't actually have a license. I forgot how her story was. I gotta remember exactly what the fuck they were saying about this bitch. She up north. But basically she's trying to open up her own dispensary too, but she's in the same situation like every other black person where you can't do it. So the reason why you really can't do it, because weed is still illegal in the country. So it's legal to recreate and utilize, and if you white, you can sell it, but it's illegal to actually sell and utilize across America. So she can't utilize it or do shit with it. But she was saying that the people been calling her to try to get her. Basically, I think it's like a list of people that can be getting a license. That's what it is. So you have what's called a social equity list, and all these people can get a license if the hunkies wasn't racist. But you can sell that to somebody. So say if they give you a license or if they got you on a list, you can sell that to some other person. Why would you sell that to some person? Because you was a black person and you went to jail and you want that license so you can leave money to your family and have a generation of wealth. Well, the reason that you want to do that is because to operate a business, to open up a marijuana selling business, to get the marijuana shipped to you from a marijuana distributor, all this shit is illegal. So the fucking feds can kick your door in. They was doing this in San Jose when I was up there and arrest everybody in that motherfucker on federal crimes. And not everybody sitting up in a prison talking about something, but I just work at the register, but I just sweep up, but I just put the shit in the bag. What the hell you mean all of us going to federal prison? Because it's still illegal federally. It's only legal inside our state. So that's why all the black people, if they name on that list, if they get licenses, they'll sell it to a white person. Because the white people, as you already know, they're not finna arrest them. They're not finna kick in their door. They're not finna put them on their gun. So that's why people, when they get the license or get their name on that list, they'll sell it. And they'll pay you $3-4 million. So that means you can just live straight. You ain't got to worry about nothing. And they'll, as white people, go deal with. But the thing is this. if you, as a social equity black person, meaning that your name is on that list, or you get a license because you went to jail or you live in a fucked up community, and now you're eligible to get the license, when you sell that license for that $3 million, that new company that own it, they don't have to do no social equity shit. They ain't gotta hire nobody black. They ain't gotta open one in the hood. They ain't gotta do none of that black shit that was a custom that was associated with your name. I just really thought I found that crazy. So you mean to tell me that you can sell your license or sell your connection to the license, and you could be financially free, you can move on with your life, but this new company don't have to adhere to none of the social equity rules or regulations that the city or state is trying to put on that. So it's like it's all one big hustle, man. It just don't seem like none of that shit is ever gonna come to power. That none of that shit is gonna ever work out. It's one big bullshit on top of another, and it's almost crazy to even see this shit. It's like what? So all these people went to jail and dealt with all that crime and pushing marijuana, selling marijuana, smoking marijuana, dealing with the cops. I dealt with that as a kid, man. I got arrested and shit in Illinois for under the marijuana situation, but I ain't have 50,000 to put down to get my name on that application. So it wasn't even a question of me, but I knew black people who did it. I just didn't know who. So seeing that documentary was really dope. It's on YouTube, and I just got a chance to see who actually had that license. And people do have one out for them, but they didn't give it to black people. But like the girl said, even if they did give it to you as a black person, how are you going to even put it up on a net? I mean, how are you going to utilize it because you don't have the money? It's on a channel. It's this channel. I'm trying to see the name of this channel. It's just say AJ, A plus J. I can't. I don't know if this is a different. Let me see if I say it. About channel. It's got to be a name for this channel. No, it's just AJ plus. So that's what y'all. If y'all want to see, it came out, and they got 1 million subscribers. AJ plus. Y'all should go check that documentary out, man, on the marijuana industry in Chicago and the social equity associated with that, man. Because a lot of these people playing games, and they can actually be making sure that is not happening in a negative way, and black people are benefiting from the marijuana legalization. There's a lot of money being made in it, and I even got my own businesses associated with the marijuana industry because that's what it is. It's a part of the world. I'm literally smoking right now. Look, I just was talking to y'all. But I do believe that I believe those people they suing the government right now. So it's a class action suit about those practices about putting veterans on the paperwork instead of it being not like that. So it's just really something intriguing to think about and wonder if they'll ever stop with that kind of nonsense and make it be legal or equitable for all races in America. So that's my take on that. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think, man, in the comment section. I was on the phone with my lady. Sometimes I talk to her, and I decided to just tell her. I tell y'all too. So that's what's going on with the marijuana industry. It's a documentary I saw, AJ Plus. That documentary came out. Does it say when? It came out February 12th, 2022. So just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, this dropped.
Opportunity. I don't be just because this thing is stopping me, who is a social equity applicant.
So she's just a social equity applicant. She didn't get the license. But the fact that she was saying that if you get it, you can sell the license. And I thought that was deep. So her name is just on the list of people who's supposed to get one if they actually do legally give out the licenses. But then, just like she said, if you get the license, how are you going to fucking pay for the actual operation of a marijuana dispensary where you're talking about millions of people or thousands of people going to come and try to bear marijuana, and you have to make sure that you got enough marijuana there. But if it's illegal to ship marijuana in certain locations, how are you going to get it? That means you got to know growers, which means you got to know more white people. A lot of stuff is just connected to white America. So if you smoke marijuana, let me know in the comment section. If you think that marijuana should be legal for people who was affected negatively, let me, in the legal system, let me know in the comment section as well. And I hit y'all up and thank y'all for listening.